You will never drag a heavy hose through the dirt again and still pull flawless, heavy tomatoes because we haven't watered this massive harvest in weeks. By the end, you'll permanently eliminate daily watering using a buried clay pot and thirsty roots. There's a strange side effect to watering this way that practically eliminates garden weeds. We'll look at that underground mechanic in a minute. But this system has one fatal flaw that will literally shatter it if you forget about it in November. Instead of spraying dirt from above, we are building an autonomous biological engine using an olla. A buried olla, pronounced olla, bleeds moisture directly into the dry dirt. Think of it like a clay water balloon that slowly leaks instead of popping. This isn't some modern internet hack. First century BCE Chinese agriculturalists during the Western Han Dynasty, recording it in the Fan Shengzishu, and farmers across the ancient Roman Empire used these exact buried pots to grow crops in harsh desert-like climates where the sun bakes the soil into a hard crust. They didn't rely on plastic drip lines or fragile modern supply chains. They had dirt, water, and baked clay. The technology is so powerful, it wasn't just used for small backyard herbs. Roman agriculturalists extensively used these buried pots, known in Latin as ollas, to sustain crops in arid Mediterranean climates. And Spanish colonizers later brought the technique to dryland farmers in the American Southwest and Mexico. We are reviving a pre-industrial farming technique that outperforms modern plastic irrigation. As Gardening Australia puts it, you can irrigate like it's 2000 BC with these easy DIY terracotta watering pots called ollas. This is how the underground machine operates. You bury an unglazed terracotta pot right next to your plants. It slowly sweats moisture directly into the ground, where the roots actually feed, much like human skin slowly sweating on a hot day. But the pot doesn't just leak randomly. It is a closed-loop exchange. As the roots drink, the drying dirt creates a physical vacuum. This suction power is called soil moisture tension. It acts exactly like drinking through a straw. As you suck the liquid out, more is pulled up to replace it. The dry soil physically pulls water through the solid clay pores only when the plants are thirsty. It relies on the exact same physics as a paper towel automatically soaking up a spill. When the soil is wet enough, the vacuum drops, and the sweating stops automatically. You no longer have to guess if you are overwatering or underwatering, and you permanently eliminate the daily chore of standing outside with a hose. You don't need to hunt down expensive imported antiques or automated commercial systems from brands like The Thirsty Earth or Grow Oya to make this work. We can assemble this off-grid watering system in 10 minutes using a few dollars worth of supplies. Grab 2 cheap terracotta plant pots, the classic orange material you see in every hardware store. Make sure they are totally unglazed. Take a tube of waterproof silicone sealant, the same rubbery glue you use around the edge of a bathtub, and run a thick bead around the rim of the bottom pot. Press the top pot down onto it, joining them rim to rim like a clamshell. Plug the bottom drain hole, leave the top hole open so you can fill it with water, and you have your machine. We dig a hole in the dark soil and bury the assembled pot up to its neck, planting our young tomato seedlings right alongside it. Consider the timeline of events. If we pull back the dirt, you can see a tight web of white roots already hugging the side of the pot. By delivering water straight to the roots, this method cuts water consumption heavily. You reduce water usage by 50% compared to conventional surface watering, saving the massive amount of moisture usually lost to the wind and sun. That means you can keep a lush food supply thriving even during severe heat waves and local water restrictions. Subscribe, please. Now, look at the topsoil. Because all the moisture stays deep underground, the top 2 inches of soil stay completely bone dry. Weed seeds need surface water to wake up and hatch. Without it, you drastically reduce weed seed germination. You eliminate hours of manual labor because the weeds simply cannot survive the dry zone. Meanwhile, the tomatoes explode in growth. Standard watering swings between drenched, waterlogged soil and dried-out dirt. That wet-dry swing is like binge-eating a massive meal after starving for 2 days, and it causes black, rotted cavities on the bottom of tomatoes, called blossom end rot, as well as fruit splitting. The steady, automatic drip of the clay pot stops those fluctuations completely. You stop losing your most valuable harvests to sudden skin splits and rot. The machine is brilliant, but it is not completely invincible. It fails in heavy clay soils, which lack the capillary action to effectively draw moisture away. Over time, you also have to watch the pores. Over multiple growing seasons, dissolved minerals from hard water can calcify within the microscopic pores, like white chalk. It is exactly like cholesterol slowly clogging an artery over time. Every few seasons, you will need to dig the pots up for a vinegar soak to restore porosity. And then there is the fatal flaw. If you live in a cold climate, you must pull these pots out of the ground before the frost hits. If you leave them buried, any water left expanding inside the unglazed clay will shatter the pot. Knowing this prevents your new biological machine from being destroyed in its very first year. Once you know how to protect the system, there is one final rule to maximize your yield: plant placement. There is one massive danger. You cannot plant this system near aggressive woody plant roots, such as certain shrubs or mint. The aggressively growing roots will actively seek out the buried moisture source and tightly wrap around the terracotta to crack the pot. Keep the heavy herbs in their own isolated beds. To pair this zero water system with zero fertilizer soil, click here to watch our guide on Tang Dynasty polyculture. Buried unglazed clay pots seep water directly into the root zone, forging an autonomous biological machine that permanently eliminates daily watering.